Hey guys, Ryan here. Before we start the show, just want to let you know that this week is the release of Black Panther on Blu-ray, DVD, 4K, and streaming. And in honor of that release, we at the Harsch Review want to give away a free download code to somebody who submits a review on our iTunes page. All you got to do is submit a review this week. At the end of the week, we'll randomly generate the winner for a free download code for Black Panther. Get it now. Now on to the show.
Welcome to episode 23 of the Harsch Review, a film and TV podcast. My name is Sean, and with me is my brother Ryan. Ryan, what's going on?
Hey, not much, Sean. I hope everybody's doing well. I'm getting over the sickness that had plagued me on the last episode and all of last week, in fact. So I'm feeling much better. I still have some residual phlegm going on in my sinus area, but other than that, I'm doing much better.
No, that's good. Yeah. I was back in Tennessee. Just got back earlier this week, so had some time to watch some movies, get caught up on different stuff, watch some shows. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Second time in Tennessee within a week, and it's a nice place, very green, easy to get around, cool music. All the billboards kind of fall into three categories where it's either about guns, fireworks, or Jesus.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it was a nice little change of pace from West Coast here. But outside of that, been watching some of the news, getting ready for some movies. I know we're all kind of in the over the honeymoon stage of the Avengers, so I'm looking forward to all our social feeds just kind of moving on. And now it's kind of pointing to Solo.
Okay, and then what else? It's like
I don't know. Actually, I should know. I don't have my notes in front of me, but I know there's not really a whole lot I'm looking forward to.
Summer blockbuster kind of preview show coming up. I think that might be in our cards soon.
Yeah, I know that there's going to be another Jurassic World. I don't know of any other huge blockbusters that are kind of slated. There's a lot out there. We'll deal with that later. Any news stories catch your eye?
Yeah, I found a couple. They're both science fiction tinged. The first one comes to us from cinemablend.com, and this has to do with the new Dune movie. And this one is being helmed by Denis Villeneuve, who we talked about way back when we discussed Blade Runner 2049. He had done an impressive job with that one, and he had done also a great job with The Arrival. So two science fiction, pretty much classics now back to back. He's turned his attention to the Dune franchise, and he's very excited about it. He was talking about it in an interview at the Cannes Film Festival, looking to say that he's going to be doing two movies because they're going to be pretty hefty. He's drawn comparisons to the Star Wars franchise. He said he already has a screenplay going, and he's having a lot of fun putting it together. So, I'm not really sure how to feel about this. I didn't really care for the original Dune. I mean, I haven't seen it in years, but I don't know. Yeah, it just seemed like kind of like a Star Wars ripoff, even though it actually came from a series of books that were written.
It's interesting. Hopefully he's got a story to tell within it that will kind of tap into a new audience.
Right.
It's one of those franchises where you didn't really necessarily know it needed to be made again. But I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. People said the same thing about like a Star Trek reboot that Abrams did, and it worked really well for him. Hopefully this is kind of brings it to a new generation, but
I think if anything like Blade Runner, it will look absolutely amazing. And, Villeneuve seems to be a very enthusiastic director, definitely has a vision and kind of starting to hone like his look. So I'm not really sure when this is going to be out, but things are moving along with it. So all you
probably
sci-fi
2020.
fans, a couple years. And I'm not sure if, two movies will be done and then he'll just kind of release them like many people have done before. So
Yeah, I think that I remember when we were doing Blade Runner, he was talking about always wanting to do Dune, and a big attraction to do the Blade Runner franchise was so that he could get some chops and do some certain things to be able to handle Doom. So
right,
he's been wanting to do it for a while.
yeah. So
All right.
yeah, we'll see. I mean, it could be something interesting. I think he's looking to get more towards the books. So whatever, we'll have to wait a couple years to find out.
Okay.
Everybody stay tuned. And then moving along on to some other sci-fi news. I know we talked a little while ago, or you brought it up, about the Star Wars TV series, which Jon Favreau will be helming. And not a lot of details have come out, but I guess recently Favreau said that the information that is coming out is that this certain storyline that will kick it off is going to take place right after Return of the Jedi, and of course right before The Force Awakens. So it's set.
Yeah, there's like a 25, 27-year gap in between those movies.
So this particular franchise, or whatever you want to call it, it's set 7 years after the Battle of Yavin. I didn't know it was called this. It's when the rebellion defeated the Emperor and crushed the Empire.
Duh.
Yeah, hey, I didn't know it was such a thing. So he says, according to him, it's all new characters, different planets, so a whole new piece, but also fits into the timeline. So that'll be kind of cool. No really word on when this is going to happen. Of course, he's doing The Lion King, and then he's doing The Jungle Book 2. And I don't know, is The Lion King going to be a live action piece there?
Yeah, it's going to be just like he did for Jungle Book.
Okay.
That movie's going to kill it too.
Oh, I know. I mean, that's a beloved animated film. So,
but I don't know if he's necessarily going to be directing the Star Wars TV series. I think that he's at the helm producing it. So it'd be kind of interesting to see how they approach that.
Yeah, I mean, you could enlist different directors, like a couple people.
Oh, yeah.
Like Fincher's done that with Mindhunter, where he's kind of been in charge of it, but then you get some different directors just to give it a different look and more of an ensemble feel. Either way, that's all the information he's given us for right now. So all you Star Wars fans, that'll whet your appetites for the time being. There's also talk about exploring the life of Boba Fett a little bit, which would get a lot of people excited as well.
I'm excited for it. Curious to see where they go.
Right.
I know they're probably going to keep it definitely in the PG side, so it'd be nice to kind of get some kind of Star Wars story that was a little bit more edgy, a little more closer to rated R, a little more violent. I know they'll never do it, but that would be pretty cool.
Tarantino would do that after Star Trek. That would be pretty nice.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Well,
that's all I got.
For me, buddy Matt from NFHC Podcast sent me over this list. Said, hey, don't know if you've seen this or not, but check it out. Might be worth talking about. It's the top 10 opening weekends. Disney has 9 of the top 10 for all time. Now, I don't know how much this list takes inflation into account, but just looking at it, just running through it real quick. Number 1 was Avengers Infinity War, which was at $258 million for an opening weekend. Goes down to Star Wars Force Awakens, Last Jedi, then Jurassic World at number 4, which is the only non-Disney movie out of this whole top 10 list. The rest, Marvel's The Avengers, Black Panther, Avengers Age of Ultron, Captain America Civil War, Beauty and the Beast, the 2017 one, and Iron Man 3. So
interesting how there's like not a lot of the classic Disney movies we see or we thought we'd see in that list aren't even there.
It's almost exclusively down to the Marvel Star Wars franchise. The only ones that are not in that is the Beauty and the Beast and Jurassic World.
Okay.
So I think that I kind of looking at this going, well, what is this really about? Not only is the audience size huge, because you're tapping into the comic book fans, but the people that they're casting in that are drawing a huge audience because of the actors and opening it up to a much larger group than before.
Right.
But I also think it's just the marketing machine. Disney knows how to market a movie They know how to build the hype. They're firing on all cylinders right now. So it's cool to see, but it's just I think it's a new generation for cinema. You're not really going to see an Oscar movie at all in this top 10. And so I think the interesting thing that maybe we could talk about a little bit is where do we see this trend continuing? Is there going to be fatigue at some point in time? Do box office numbers really matter? Personally, for me, I don't think they matter as much because I think that they're a reflection of hype and marketing, not necessarily based off of if the movie's good or not, because it's opening weekend.
Yeah.
A good example would be Pirates of the Caribbean franchise or Fast and Furious movies, maybe even I think another good example is like Transformers. Movies that are commercial successes, but the movie is just terrible.
Yeah.
So what is
Not
getting
good
people
at
there
all.
is the marketing, and you know, I just hope that the cinema doesn't just become all popcorn movies and drives that way, that there's going to still be a market for maybe more Oscar style movies, but it's going to be interesting. I think the Oscars are going to have to start paying attention to that. What's keeping Hollywood moving are these kinds of movies.
I mean, I saw a recent article. They've already announced dates for like 9 new, like, Marvel Universe films. I mean, they're not giving details, but they've already released the dates. So, it's like a deluge. I'm sure some people at some point will get tired of it. Others, as long as they can still kind of deliver, but you have high expectations every time you put something new out to top the one that came before it. I mean, Avengers has obviously set a bar here for blockbusters and for overall look and style. So the next one, like, better pay off. That's kind of the mindset that most of the audiences will go into the movies with.
Yeah, and that's I think that also I know that when movies like Avengers open, they often have minimum screen requirements. They pick the right dates so that they can own as many screens as possible. So the quantity of seats available for that weekend is greater compared to other movies, which may only get 1 or 2 screens in a theater.
Right.
You've also got the IMAX and then the 3D components that come into play. So Avengers had all 3 of them. You could see it in regular, you could see it in 3D, you could see it in IMAX. So even more screens available. And it's still a great movie within itself, but you even look at movies like, let's say, the number 10, Iron Man 3, which did $174 million. It's still a good movie, but it's crazy to me that movie's number 10.
Like, wouldn't Bambi be in there,
Well, no, it's a long time ago, man.
I mean, but these are like, I'm talking like classic Disney movie. It's just, what I'm trying to get over is just the fact that when you think Disney, you're thinking those movies. I think we all have to get used to the fact that Disney's really taken over a lot of stuff. I saw some meme recently where it had the Thanos glove and it represented Disney, and each jewel had like a different studio in it. So
yeah,
that was kind of funny. I mean, it's like, Disney's obviously this major powerhouse, always has been, and they're just kind of absorbing all these other studios that are either falling on hard times or need a lift or just kind of giving up and being bought out.
Yeah, and I think in the era of Netflix, and there's so much good content that goes right to your living room now, which would never have a home in the theater. I think that we're starting to see that divide between what you're going to go to pay to actually see in the theater is a different type of movie than what you're going to want to watch at home.
Yes.
When we look at the worldwide openings, just to kind of set some perspective here, a little bit more variety. So the worldwide Avengers Infinity War is still number 1 at $640 million. Number 2 is The Fate of the Furious. Three is that's I don't know which one number 1 that is, probably the 6th or 7th. I don't know. Number 3 is The Force Awakens. 4 is still Jurassic World. 5 is Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Number 7 is Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice. Number 8 is Furious 7. So that answers our question about the other one. The Fate, I think it's a play on the word 8. I don't know. I haven't seen any of those.
Okay. I gave up before. I mean, I just never really
that
cared.
thing that franchise just bleeds money, and there's a huge market for it. Number 9, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, and then number 10 is Marvel's Avengers. So when you go a little bit further down in the worldwide list, I'll just name a couple more. You see sort of different flavors. So, for example, 12 is Transformers: Dark of the Moon. You got Spider-Man 3 in there. Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides is number 18. Twilight is like number 20. Everything's just, they're all still the popcorn movies. Number 30, Indiana Jones, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. And I just keep going down the list, and they're all like action adventure superhero movies until number 41, 50 Shades of Grey.
Hey,
I know how you feel about that.
Oh yeah, about time.
So, and our buddy Matt's favorite, Avatar at number 42.
Yay.
So the list continues. We don't actually start getting to, if I look at like number 50, 55, The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug, that's probably the first drama type movie that's on here other than 50 Shades of Grey. War of the Worlds at 57. So again, that's another serious movie. And you continue going down it at number 67. So that's kind of surprising.
Yeah.
Not too bad. And so the list just kind of continues. They all have the same kind of theme. And so I think that the numbers don't lie. People are going to the movies for these types of, action, adventure, something exciting. There's no real reason to go and see any of the typical Oscar contenders in the movie theater. I typically don't, just because it's not going to make a difference in my viewing experience. But when I went and saw Avengers Infinity War, people were laughing, having a good time. You like to be in that social environment. I think it works for those kinds of movies.
Definitely an experience. Like this year it's been Black Panther and it's been Avengers, and we're not even into summer yet. So it's like, it's just kind of nice to have those fun experiences when you go to the movies now, especially if you're paying a lot of money to go see a film, which is kind of keeping people from going in the first place.
Yeah, that's true. So we'll see how it goes. But it's going to be interesting watching the next 10 years and how movie theaters adapt, especially as more and more content is getting published right in your front room.
Yeah.
All right. Any other news for you? You're good?
I'm good.
Okay, let's move on. What have we been watching? And I know that you haven't been feeling too well, so I assume you're going to have a larger list than normal.
Yeah.
Why don't you kick it off? What's new on your screen?
I'll just go down with 3 of them. I've just started recently watching Fear the Walking Dead. I am a Walking Dead fan. I like the comic book. I like the show, even though some people don't. But,
are you caught up with the show?
Yeah. I'm caught up as of the last first half of the new season. You know how they did a first half. And
yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
So I do like it. I think the Negan character is great. I think that's just a very fun character to have on the show. A lot of opportunities to kill that guy, and they kind of missed him. So, spoiler. But Fear the Walking Dead is one I've just been kind of not really paying attention to, and then started watching it. I really dig it. I'm on season 2, about halfway through currently. This weekend, I plan to get caught up on it. With the regular Walking Dead, it took away more from the zombies, and it's more about the people against each other. Fear the Walking Dead, where it's at now, it's a lot more zombies, a lot more gore. So if you're into that kind of thing, it's a fun show. A little more character driven though, and a little more on the side of suspense and just kind of where are these characters coming from? Who are these interesting people? So I like it. I don't know how you feel about the franchise, Sean, but I'm digging it.
First of all, a little surprised that you're a big fan of the two. Not surprised because they're not good quality or anything like that. I just I know that if they didn't have the drama elements in there, you may not be as drawn towards them. I've current on Walking Dead all the way up until this current season. I kind of just walked away from it, going, I'll wait and just consume it all at once, just because I don't really care as much anymore.
Yeah,
they're dragging on these characters, and the plot is just not moving at a pace that I enjoy anymore.
Yeah, it gets a little redundant.
It does, and I don't really care about who they kill off or what they do, that kind of stuff. Like I wasn't really attached to the characters from that point of view. I just think it's kind of funny where if I was in this situation, um, it's the last thing I'd be doing is like squadding up and then dealing with like, let's go fight this camp or let's do that. I'll be like, I'm just going to keep going that way.
Right.
And like they had like from the start of the whole series to where now they've maybe moved like 30, 40 miles.
It doesn't seem like they covered a lot of ground. I'd be getting out of the South. I mean, I wouldn't be in the hottest place in America.
Yeah, I would be exploring for safer places to be. And clearly it hasn't worked out for them and they still continue to try.
Yeah, well, God bless them.
Yeah, and then I watched a lot of the Fear of the Walking Dead. I think I've seen the first season and some of the second. I know that they recently just did a reboot of it. Ratings haven't been as strong. They're going to tie it together. I believe they've said that I think it's a Morgan character that they're going to bring in at some point.
Yeah, that's been revealed. So
something like that, to where they're going to connect it together, which I don't even think is necessary. It's just nice seeing it from a different point of view in a different environment. So if you're a fan of that kind of stuff, it definitely takes a little bit different of an approach. But yeah, they're all right.
Yeah. So I've been watching that. Watched a documentary on Netflix. I mean, Netflix has a ton of documentaries. So this one I watched. What do you know about the name Mcafee? That name?
I know it's the antivirus software of the late 90s, early 2000s.
Right. So this documentary I watched is called Gringo, The Dangerous Life of John McAfee, and it's about the guy that made that software, and he is a nut. This guy is crazy.
Yeah, he's crazy. He's crazy, but really intelligent.
Yeah, just kind of off the wall dude. So this documentary is very revealing. I believe he died recently. Is that true? Or
I don't believe so. He's had warrants out for his arrest for various a murder connection in South America somewhere. He's been hiding at different times. I don't know.
They reveal that on the the documentary. Basically, like he moved to Belize and set up a compound, and he was kind of throwing his weight around, just kind of living some crazy life. And so bath salts are involved at some point. Really deviant, crazy sex acts, which I don't want to mention here, were involved. So it's a pretty interesting documentary, very fascinating. They got a lot of people to talk on it. Even, he's on it in clips, and he was kind of talking to the person who was making the documentary. This kind of an interesting, fascinating guy. Don't envy the life at all, but I mean, everyone chooses their own path. So this guy definitely chose his. But it's a Showtime documentary, and it's on Netflix.
I did see it on there. I wanted to watch it because I remember just reading various stories about him, and I read an article. He was interviewed recently, just talking about where he thinks the future of cryptocurrency is going, and how businesses are going to operate, and that the structure of boss and employee in a company is going to go away at some point, according to him. And he says this is within the next 10 years. And so I'm kind of paraphrasing us off memory, so forgive me if I botch it completely. But he was saying that the way that cryptocurrencies work, almost as if every person is an independent contractor, so to speak. Yeah. And so that individuals no longer have that a superior subordinate relationship in work environments based off of how they get paid and where they make money. They'll have much more freedom on where they go with their time. So imagine a corporation or a company where everybody is equal and doesn't have power influence on each other. And he was saying that cryptocurrencies are going to be influencing the work environment in that sense. You could probably Google it and find it. It's very interesting just to read it, because he talked about a lot of stuff I didn't understand.
I mean, he's definitely like a forward thinker, but like a lot of, I guess, geniuses, he does have their, odd, weird kind of things about them. So, but he's always been like a paranoid dude, even back in the beginning of making this antivirus. But I mean, that was like on every computer you got in the 90s. I mean, McAfee was it. So, it's just kind of a fascinating look at it. I do like documentaries like that. Made me look at another one it's on Amazon. It was for $1. It's called All Good Things. It stars Ryan Gosling, Kristen Dunst, and it's pretty much like a dramatization of the Robert Durst story. So the movie itself, All Good Things, is pretty good. Gosling is really excellent playing like that quiet, creepy psychopath that he's done a lot. But apparently, when the guy was making this documentary, he kept getting phone calls from the real Robert Durst, who the movie's based on, and that eventually became the documentary The Jinx, which is on HBO, which I highly recommend. It's very, very interesting. Have you seen that one, Sean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Who was that? Pacino, or who played him?
No. The Jinx is actually a real documentary. It's
okay. I got it mixed up. Yeah.
Yes.
I did see that one too. I thought you were talking about the Phil Spector for some reason.
No, similar kind of people, but
yeah, that's why I got caught up.
All Good Things, the one I watched the other night, is basically like the precursor to The Jinx. Pretty good movie. I mean, a little derivative at times, but very fascinating story. I'm surprised the guy's not locked up or anything, but this like the amount of like obvious guilt that he implicated himself in, but basically was rumored to kill his wife in 1982 and then moved to Texas in hiding, dressed up as a woman for a couple years to evade authorities. A couple other people ended up dead, and this guy's out there still walking around, but he's more or less a multi-billionaire due to inheritance. So interesting look at how maybe the law will treat people differently who have a lot of money, or I don't know if there's anything equal about that, but nonetheless, it's a fascinating story.
Yeah, I need to give that a go.
Yeah, check it out. So that's like 3 I really been watching. What have you been watching, Sean?
I finally got around to seeing The Post. Watched it on the airplane.
Okay.
Good story.
Yeah.
It's well executed. It's just kind of plain to me. I mean, I didn't really feel that Tom Hanks or Meryl Streep were really strong. They were good, but it's just interesting to now in hindsight, not seeing it prior to the Oscars, where it got a lot of attention. I like the movies where Spielberg just makes simple movies because the quality and the craftsmanship just behind the non-action, no flares is very apparent.
It reminded me of another one he recently did. What's it called? Bridge of Spies.
Yeah.
Kind of boring, but it's a interesting story nonetheless. So you're right. Like he delivers a little slice of history you didn't really know too much about.
Yeah, he's got that trend going. He's done a lot of historical movies aside from like a Schindler's List. I wouldn't say Saving Private Ryan qualifies for that, but then he's got, like you said, Bridge of Spies. Lincoln is another example. The Post is one. As good as what's the Catch Me If You Can?
That was good. I like that one.
And so those are the kind of movies to where it's like a different type of Spielberg movie. Obviously, it's not as big budget. You're not really getting a whole lot of CGI. Although in this movie, there was a scene where they're running newspapers, like a huge shot, and the newspapers were totally post-production CG'd in, and they didn't look that great.
CGI newspaper.
Yeah, I know.
Who would have thought?
But good story. I like those kind of movies. I like political dramas a lot. So I enjoyed that.
There's not a lot of rewatchability is the only thing.
Yeah, I would agree. Also watched Up in the Air, I think is what it's called. George Clooney.
Oh yeah.
Never
saw that one?
No, I've seen it. I just watched it again because it kind of came on.
Twins wasn't on, or?
No twins.
Okay.
That's another interesting movie, just about like the travel life and firing people and the whole corporate thing and how sad and pathetic people are when they travel. A guy gets a million miles or something, or I don't know how many miles he had. And then let's see what else I started watching The Punisher about halfway through that.
Nice.
Tough one to watch on an airplane though, because of how violent it is.
Yeah.
So I'm like
next to you.
I'm like apologizing, but just like cover up the screen, going
Keep
like, oh,
flipping
hold
the laptop.
on. Yeah. So Punisher's been great so far. Really like the torment that the main character is going through.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been pretty interesting so far. And then finally, I watched last night Evil Genius, the true story of America's most diabolical bank heist on Netflix.
True
just
crime.
Just came out. Yeah, getting some true crime in there. It just came out. 4 episodes. It's about the pizza bomber that happened, I think, in 2003 in Erie, Pennsylvania.
Ah.
I remember that thing on the news. I remember seeing that on the news. The dude got blown up on the news with a collar bomb around his neck. It's definitely an interesting story, and I learned quite a bit about it. The documentary, I think, could have probably been 3 episodes. They really try to squeeze out everything possible. So there's a lot of the production elements I didn't really like so much about this particular one.
Okay.
For example, Making a Murderer with Steve Avery, I think is his name.
Yeah.
There was enough content there to where it went 10 episodes, but the last 2 or 3 were just kind of going like, all right, wrap it up.
Yeah.
The narrative is not developing anymore.
You don't need like a 10. I mean, you can just do a couple. You don't need to do 10.
Yeah, you don't. But I also don't think that a lot of it comes down to this woman that is, everybody's like very intelligent, and they have this weird, crazy plot. So the story is very fascinating. I just don't think the characters are really worth giving the screen time that they did. There's also this one character that was very elusive that they eventually got on film for the documentary. That's like, I'm going to tell you everything that happened. And the payoff really wasn't there either.
Was his face all had that fuzzy stuff on it?
No. It's what's interesting to me is that this was made over the course of like several years from 2006, 7, 2012. And we're just now kind of seeing it. So if you like true crime stuff, definitely give it a watch. You'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have that same kind of magic that some of the other ones that are out there with. I mean, outside of I think they fail to capture the genius behind like the pizza bomber, the scavenger hunt, and the people themselves that were doing it. They don't have as many answers that you would like.
Genius is a strong word to describe something like that too.
Yeah, it's interesting to where you put a collar bomb on a guy and then give him a scavenger hunt, and he has like an hour to go find the keys, or the thing blows up.
Sounds like Die Hard 3.
It kind of does. It definitely sounds like a movie plot.
Go in the fountain with the 5-gallon bottle and transfer it without spill. It's just like one of those things.
It is, but
it's a good script.
What's funny is like for as intelligent as these people are, because they have evaded police and the FBI for so long. What's interesting to me is they had this they wanted the guy to go get $250,000 out of a bank, made a cane gun that actually was a functional gun that looked like a cane.
Okay.
Put a bomb around his neck, and we're like, we want $250,000. And then he was to follow this whole scavenger hunt, which was either to throw off police to make it seem like legit or not. I don't know. But the guy makes it out of the parking lot with the bank and then doesn't get any further. And he only had $8,000. So it's kind of going, well, as genius and weird as his plan is, how did you actually think he was going to follow the scavenger hunt and not get caught by the police by then?
Yeah, that's like the end of it.
So they kind of overlooked the fact that their plan was really stupid. But how they went about doing it and covered their tracks and stuff is where I think the genius was, or just dumb luck, because there's a lot of mistakes that the FBI admits to. There's a lot of overlooked details that you'll even start piecing them together just organically while watching it. You're going, wait a second, that guy said this. I just saw some footage that showed this. Are they going to talk about that? And then they do.
Were you like writing stuff down?
No, it wasn't that dedicated.
Closet sleuth.
Yeah. Yeah, no. So check it out. Brand new Evil Genius, true story of America's most diabolical bank heist on Netflix now.
Maybe I'll watch it.
Okay, so for today's feature, we're going to be talking about Karate Kid and Cobra Kai. And
we're talking about Jackie Chan, Jaden Smith.
we're only going to focus on the Jackie Chan, Jaden
Hilary
Smith. I
Swank.
think that's where the true cinematic gold is at.
Terry Silver.
Hilary Swank is a close second.
Okay.
And then it would go Karate Kid 3, 2, and then 1 is the worst.
Okay.
Hopefully you guys can sense my sarcasm here. We're only going to talk about the first one. Maybe a little bit on 2 and 3, but not really.
Okay.
And then we're going to talk about some Cobra Kai. Give you guys a chance if you haven't seen it. We'll let you know when to bail out because we will be talking spoilers. And let's kick it off. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's talk about Karate Kid. So, the reason why we kind of picked this movie, aside from just watching Cobra Kai recently and kind of remembering, how awesome Karate Kid was for me as a kid, it's an interesting movie as far as all the ones we've done so far because it's not really a great movie on its own. I think that it's more of the right time, right place, had a lot of influence on pop culture, especially for movies in the 80s. So it's a very significant, I think, important movie to a lot of people that are in our generation or that connected with it. It came out in 1884. I loved the shit out of this movie.
1884?
Yeah.
1884?
1984.
Oh, 1984. Okay.
Yeah, easy there.
Hey.
And
First film.
Yes.
Yes.
First film ever, Karate Kid.
It's a talkie.
It's I watched this thing so many times, probably well over like 3 dozen times maybe in my lifetime. It's tapered off significantly the older you get, understandably, but in the 80s, early 90s, it's always a lot of fun. It's on TV, and I know everybody's seen it. If you haven't seen it, it's definitely worth watching just because you can kind of see the impact that it had. So when we talked about movies like Indiana Jones that had a huge influence on action movies, Karate Kid really kind of inspired a whole different genre or type of movie. I think it's one of the best 80s movies as far as like what is an 80s movie. You're going to look at like Ferris Bueller, Breakfast Club is another very iconic 80s movie. This movie came out like the same year as like Temple of Doom and Ghostbusters and all that kind of stuff. But Karate Kid dealt with some real issues at the time that was new for cinema. And a couple of those issues was being a minority in growing up in America. And that would be in the Mr. Miyagi character. A single mom trying to raise a kid was another issue that they dealt with. Bullying in school was another issue that they dealt with. And then rich and poor, the rich girl, the poor kid, and all that kind of stuff. And so there's a lot of elements kind of going on below the surface, which are a little bit more hidden than you would possibly assume. So, a lot of my research kind of came down to, other than just some quirky facts, which I'll talk about in a moment, was really just its impact on pop culture and its impact on movies. So enough about, I think, my introduction there. Ryan, why don't you, I know that we're in the same household for many years, but I'm sure your point of view might be a little bit different. What is your whole take on Karate Kid and your memories of it?
Yeah, I really like Karate Kid. I remember it was on a lot when we were growing up on the old VHS player. So I think it was an HBO edit, but I mean, not much to censor, but we did watch it quite a bit. And like you said, it kind of tapered off over the years. And then rewatching it, it's still enjoyable, but I found a couple of problems I have with it.
Oh boy! All right, let's hear it. Let's get into it.
So the first problem is, Pat Morita plays Mr. Miyagi, and he is the handyman of this shithole apartment complex, right?
Yeah, the South Seas.
Yes. Okay. So basically, like, they're really trifling things. But first of all, like, he's helping out this kid, Daniel. He's, trimming trees. He's doing all this stuff. Who's fixing up the apartment complex when he's doing all this stuff?
Well, obviously the place is a shithole, so he's
Yeah.
not doing a good
Okay,
job.
so then he should have gotten fired because he's not doing a very good job.
Damn critic over here.
Yeah. All right. Second
Yeah,
thing.
what's your relationship like with your current landlord?
Right. Well, it's pretty good. I demand great service at all times. Second of all, Daniel's going to school with all these bruises on his face, right?
Yeah.
All of these teachers should have been fired. Why wasn't CPS called for this abuse?
Yeah, well, it wouldn't really work for the plot of the movie.
Okay, well, if you're a teacher, speaking from some experience, you're a mandated reporter. You're supposed to report any signs of abuse, and these teachers did not. And he gets banged up in this movie quite a bit. I mean, he's coming in with a new kind of strawberry on his face or something every other day. So,
well, one was a bike accident. He's had his moments.
Okay, well, so that's my other thing. There's also like some racial undertones going on. Every time they show Mr. Miyagi, there's a pan flute comes on. That's like, all right, we get it. He's from China or Japan, whatever. Daniel has the Sanders and he starts doing the Hare Krishna thing. And then there's like some rednecks that are saying some, not very nice things about Asian people at some point. And so there's like a lot of like little racist undertones. I know that's part of the plot. So, it's just kind of like, as a kid, you don't really notice that stuff. But, I'm not trying to say...
I didn't pick up on any of that as a kid.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It is good, to kind of bring that to people's consciousness. But, and then Daniel, like, he does some, like... He caused some property damage at one point when he was getting away from Johnny, and he had done something not very nice to Johnny. And then as he's running away, like 3 cars run into each other and like demolish each other. So it's like he's not being held accountable for any of this stuff.
No, he's not.
Yeah, I mean,
he got away with it.
He comes off as a big victim in this movie, but he's kind of an instigator, and this might come up a little bit later in Cobra Kai. But those are just some things I wrote down. I also didn't know the pan flute is done by none other than Zamfir. Do you know anything about Zamfir?
No, enlighten me.
Okay, well, Zamfir, if you're up at 2 a.m. watching TV, there's a little infomercial about this guy. They're trying to sell Zamfir, like, sounds of the pan flute. So apparently Zamfir did the soundtrack for the pan flute. And he is the one doing the flute in this. And if you Google a picture of him, he's a very interesting looking fellow. So yeah, those are my petty little observations.
That's it.
Well, I mean, but it kind of makes you like, what, I mean, it's just, there's some really like obviously cheesy parts in this movie. I think what makes it hold up so much, it's a little bit like, Lucas did with Star Wars, where you're not going to make a great movie, but if you kind of borrow a lot from mythology, which this movie does, I mean, you have the novice is brought in and he's trained by a very experienced, wise old man. But who, by the way, another trifle I have, Mr. Miyagi does quite a bit of like child endangerment in this movie. He's making Daniel do a lot of manual labor that he's not paying Daniel for at all. At one point, he gives him alcohol, just like without even asking him if he enjoys rice wine. So I'm surprised the authorities weren't knocking at Mr. Miyagi's door and trying to deport him because he was obviously in violation of some very stringent child labor laws that we have in California.
Well, that's what life is like in Reseda.
And Encino, by the way.
And Encino, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Encino Hills. So that's, but like I said, back to my original, the film does kind of borrow from that mythology and uses these kind of archetypal characters. And I think that, like Star Wars, rewatching Star Wars, you're like, why were we so jazzed up about these movies? They kind of look shitty and the dialogue sucks, but you have these kind of, archetypal characters that have persisted throughout mythology for centuries. So I think that's why it's very successful. I do think it is a very definitive 80s movie. Soundtrack is great. I mean, some of these songs are just stuck in my head for days after watching it. When I was on the Stairmaster, the song "You're the Best Around," nothing's ever gonna bring you down. That was in my head the whole time. So it's very inspirational music for the film.
Yeah, got your ass off the couch.
Yeah, it did. And the pan flute, interesting.
So yeah, it definitely capitalizes on a lot of those stereotypes where you've got the skinny wimpy kid, I could relate to growing up, and then you've got the cute blonde, the rich girl that obviously is like kind of that cheerleader stereotype,
but also Buck stereotypes, because Daniel is Italian, and Italians don't take shit.
Yeah,
and in this movie, he's kind of a pussy.
He is, but he definitely defends himself. He definitely defends himself.
Yeah, but he does some underhanded shit to get back at these guys too.
No, it's coming around. He got inspired because the girl said you should just face it. So he's right. He's doing it in his own way.
He tries to get that boring teacher to talk to the kids about some mundane.
You also failed to acknowledge how Mr. Miyagi beat up about 4 or 5 minors. Yeah. So you didn't call that one out.
Yeah, that's on my list somewhere.
He also let the kid drive. Doesn't have a license.
Yep, that's good. Good job there, buddy.
Yeah.
I would have called someone on him.
Yeah.
It's a concerned citizen.
Concerned citizen. Asian mentor endangers Italian youth.
Kind of creepy.
But it does, and it's got the villain. So Johnny's an awesome villain because he's got the blonde hair and he's all the tough guy. He's got wearing his headband to school, so he clearly takes his karate lessons pretty serious.
Oh yeah.
And so I think that's what makes it work. And the sound editing is great in it with the music cues and stuff like that. Next time you're watching this movie, the one thing that stood out to me that I don't like is when he does his little crane kick at the end, which is a made up thing. It's kind of borrowed from crane technique.
So it's bullshit.
Right when it is. Right when he connects, because Mr. Miyagi's like, oh, can't be defended, or you could just dodge it, move left or right.
Hello.
Anyways,
Mortal Kombat.
Right when he connects to Johnny's face, you hear this splash symbol that just I don't know. It's just supposed to emphasize that he connected with it, but it just sounded really bad.
One of the extras tripped over a symbol or something. They're like,
they put it in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I thought there were some interesting things I was kind of learning as we're looking at this movie. Aside from its just impact, it spawned a whole lot since then. I mean, we're talking, it's been about 30 years, more than 30 years since this movie came out. There's been about 13 different things that were released that were connected to this, aside from Karate Kid 2 and 3, the Hilary Swank stuff, and then the Jackie Chan stuff, and then they had a TV show. There's a cartoon. So there's a lot of things going on, and then Cobra Kai is coming around. So it has some strong staying power still.
Sure.
So I think it's kind of why it works. And so, yes, there's a lot of cheesy things there, but the formula was pretty good, and they definitely made it work. So I looked at a couple different websites. They all kind of have the same stuff. So from no particular order, I'll just name out some interesting facts that stand out to me. Pat Morita, who we kind of would have known from Happy Days.
Yeah.
Or
the Weezer video.
Right, yeah. He was turned down for the role of Mr. Miyagi because he was a comedian, and they didn't want to have a comedian in that role. So he grew his beard and added this Japanese accent for his screen test, and that's what ended up changing the hearts of the casting team to give him the part. But they had a rule where they didn't want a comedian. Daniel LaRusso's name was supposed to be Daniel Weber. Johnny Lawrence was supposed to be Donald Rice.
Donald's coming.
I know. Johnny just sounds like a punk ass name.
Yeah.
The song that got Ryan inspired on the Stairmaster "You're the Best" was originally to be used in Rocky 3, but it was replaced with "Eye of the Tiger."
Yeah.
So that's what Karate Kid swooped in and picked up. Good old Joe Esposito. This little tune there.
Yep.
And so, yeah, that one kind of worked out. There's a lot of little things in the movies that kind of showed you, where you could see, the Daniel's shower curtain was used. It was hanging up in the shed of Mr. Miyagi's pad, and
great
all that
costume,
kind of stuff.
by the way.
Yeah, I mean, it's all made San Fernando Valley, a lot of it, and a lot of the places are still there. I've been by a handful of these. Like the South Seas is still the South Seas, and
What?
you can drive by and it looks pretty much the same. It's missing some of the palm trees and stuff.
Is there an Asian handyman that works there?
No, because they just actually built that little stand-up. Mr. Miyagi's like shack was built in the little parking garage, so they just put walls up. The inside was probably in a studio.
You mean his greenhouse? I mean, I didn't really see him doing a lot of handyman work in there.
Yeah, I know. He's just getting loaded
Trimming
in
those
there,
little
trimming trees. But the place is a shithole, so you can go and take a look at it if you're over in Southern California.
Dime a dozen.
Yeah. There's a lot going on down there. There was a couple extra scenes with Johnny and Daniel that were cut from the film that just didn't kind of work. Like I think it was like just a little bit too much. There's a lot going on between the two, so 2 more dumb scenes in the movie that weren't there. One where he like sneaks a blueberry pie under as he sits down in the cafeteria, gets blueberry pie all over his pants. There's this other one where Daniel's actually questioning Cobra Kai practices. So the script says, Daniel, like, we both know you can kick my ass 7 ways from Sunday, so why do you still bother? Johnny says, maybe because I like to. Daniel, you ever think he might be wrong? Johnny goes, who? Daniel goes, your teacher. Johnny says, watch your mouth, asshole. So that was the scene that they cut out. Yeah. Other thing we don't really know where Mr. Miyagi got a lot of his money, but he gave Daniel one hell of a sweet ride in a 1948 Ford Super Deluxe Club convertible.
Yeah, he had a shitload of nice cars.
Yeah, the producer actually gave Ralph Macchio that car, who still has it.
Nice.
So good for him. Nice cars there for sure.
Yeah.
There were rumors that Chuck Norris was originally going to be the character of John Kreese, but Chuck Norris denies that he was ever asked.
David Carradine.
Yeah, I know.
Bill.
Sensei Kreese was originally like a military, he's a military veteran, obviously serving as a U.S. Army captain in 70 to 72. But his service is referenced later in I believe the third one when he's introduced to Terry Silver, who's the Vietnam veteran. Yeah, Terry Silver. And yeah, there's a lot of other just weird things in there that aren't really gonna kind of point out. Pat Morita didn't do the whole crane kick on the beach. That's his stunt double. There's a lot of awesome T-shirts in the movie, which I kind of noticed. I was like, oh, look at that. My favorite is Daniel's buddy. When he first enters the South Seas, he kicks the door down and it hits the guy, and he's like, "What was that, karate?" The dude's got a shirt on that's got 2 big pigs, having sex, saying "making bacon."
Get it?
Yeah, I know.
Nice.
There's a cameo by Happy Gilmore's grandma, who was in the movie, which is kind of funny. And there's some other interesting things where I think Dutch, he's the blonde-haired guy that on the Cobra Kai. He's played by Chad McQueen. He's the son of Steve McQueen.
Wow.
It's kind of an interesting little Easter egg in there. Not really an Easter egg, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Then there's another guy in there that Frank Burt Avalon, who's the son of Frankie Avalon. He's one of the guys who takes an egg in the head in the Halloween party.
Aw.
And then later on, there's a couple other, Elizabeth Shue's brother is in it, and Larry Drake of L.A. Law. He's one of the other guys that's in there. He's from Revenge of the Nerds.
Oh, that's Lamar.
Yeah, there's some interesting.
Larry Drake was the villain in Darkman.
Oh, there you go.
Collected
take the
fingers.
Fucking elephant.
Yeah, they collected fingers.
Take the fucking elephant
box.
Yeah,
early William Neeson film. I believe.
Yeah, I know that movie's funny too.
Yeah,
I love
that's
when
great.
That's the best line though. The elephant line's the best. It's like, I gotta go. It's like, take the elephant. Oh, why are you doing this? He just loses his shit.
Take the fucking elephant.
Yeah, and the tournament, at the end, I do think they wrapped it up a little quick, and I even thought this when I watched it just the other day.
Well, Sean, you forgot there's the '80s montage took care of that.
Oh, it's mandatory. Every '80s movie has a montage. How do you think he's going to train to fight at quote unquote black belt level in 2 months?
Yeah.
But the tournament at the end, essentially when he wins, and then Johnny's like, "You're not bad," LaRusso hands him the trophy, and then Mr. Miyagi's all smiling and proud. And then the movie just cuts right to credits. It's like, okay. The original ending was how they started Karate Kid 2 with that whole parking lot scene. So, yeah, that's just how it was supposed to go. But I could see how they couldn't make it work. But, yeah, in the end, it was a fun movie. They kind of poked fun at themselves over the year. A couple other random things about it, which I thought were kind of fascinating. This is one of my favorite ones. Is Kyle Eastwood, Clint's son, auditioned for the role of Daniel LaRusso, and he didn't get the part. So his dad retaliated by banning all Coca-Cola products from his movie sets because Columbia Studios, who made Karate Kid, was owned by Coca-Cola at the time.
Get off my studio set.
Yeah, I know. It's like,
get off my lawn. Get off my lawn and get off my studio set.
What are you doing here?
I'm making Deadpool right now. Get off my studio. I don't want Coke. I want Pepsi.
Charlie Sheen turned down the role for Daniel LaRusso. That would have been a much different movie. But I could have seen it in '84.
Yeah. Pre-Hot Shots.
So, yeah, they initially wanted to cut the whole Miyagi drunk scene out because they just felt it was a little too heavy-handed for the movie.
The best part in the movie.
And that's what kind of, they left it in, and it's also what they felt that got Pat Morita the Oscar nod for this movie, which...
Pretty sad part,
Karate Kid and the Oscars, who would have known?
Wow.
I know.
Pat Morita.
Yeah, and so I think that there's a couple other key things. Remember that whole skeleton fight where they jump Daniel and they're like whooping on him, and then Miyagi comes. Like, they're having problems filming that because Pat Morita's stunt double was just hitting everybody too hard
because he's like a child molester or something.
Yeah, they eventually had to shoot the scene with doubles and all the King stuff to kind of help, or all in their not King, the skeleton outfits, because they needed to get the thing in one shot. So
you could tell it's heavily edited though. It's like they show him about to hit somebody, and then it cuts to the guy like falling against the fence. So it's typical like that soft-handed violence. Whereas
I mean, Ralph Macchio was 22 and they filmed it, and like none of the cast actually believed it. They couldn't believe that he was that old, but he looked that young.
He doesn't look how young, like how old he is now.
I know, right? But yeah, there's a lot of cool little scenes there, and there's a few things I'll have to put some links to, where there's like a thing on YouTube where you can kind of watch like the making of. It's more of a I wouldn't say a making of, but it's a like a rehearsal video of the film is on YouTube. So if you're really into it, they actually just kind of released it on YouTube recently. So if you're a diehard fan, you'll probably enjoy seeing all the behind the scenes type of stuff, because you didn't really get any of that on DVDs other than like a commentary track.
Yeah.
I don't know how hardcore anybody is about Karate Kid.
Hey.
Hardcore. I mean, I don't really have a whole lot more to say about it other than it's very nostalgic for me, just because how much I loved it and could relate to it in a lot of ways. And I think a lot of kids in the 80s as well, if you grew up in the 80s and you weren't impacted by this movie in some way, you really don't have a soul.
Yeah.
It's
a fun movie. It's apart from the stuff we talked about being like kind of flaws, it is a very fun movie. I did enjoy watching it again. It still holds up.
It does. It does
for what it is.
And I have to remind myself, like, these people are in high school.
Yeah.
Other than like when you're actually at high school, it doesn't seem like high school stuff, and everybody looks older than high school students.
Yeah, always.
It's like, how are these guys just riding around on their dirt bikes, hanging out of high school? I mean, I don't know.
Smoking.
My high school is a little different, but okay.
And my high school, people don't beat the shit out of each other like they did in this movie.
Yeah,
it's pretty unrelenting.
But
like, if anything, it brings bullying to the fore. I mean, it is a serious problem, but it's like,
yeah, that's true.
I think sometimes you do have to exaggerate it a little bit on film just to bring attention to it. I mean,
That's true.
But,
all right.
Yeah, all right.
There it is.
You
Karate
think you know
Kid.
so much about Karate Kid, huh?
I know everything there is to know about
Yeah,
Karate Kid.
all right. Well, let's find out.
Totally the Karate Kid, bruh.
Let's find out.
Uh-oh, what, you got some questions for me?
I have some questions.
All right, if I get any of these wrong, I'll be disappointed in myself, but I'm sure you're gonna go deep, so wish me luck.
You won't get your Karate Kid merit badge.
yeah.
If you miss all these. Okay.
All right, let's do it.
So, who was the first friend Daniel makes? What's his name?
Oh, what is that dude's name? That is a good question. I don't know off the top of my head. He's the one with the Making Bacon t-shirt.
Yeah, his name is Freddie.
Freddie, that's right.
Who later,
okay, well, I'm off to a horrible start.
He's like his friend for like 5 minutes.
And where'd you find this guy?
Yeah, I know.
At the beach.
He makes an ass of himself at the beach, and then
after Daniel gets tuned up.
Right, gets tuned up. What month does Daniel leave New Jersey?
Oh, doesn't it say?
Yeah.
I'm going to say August.
September.
Damn it! I knew it was one of those two. Yeah, right around school.
Yeah. How did?
All right. Well.
Yeah. Sorry.
Right, go ahead. I'm disappointed.
0 for 2. How did Daniel explain his black eye to his mother and Mr. Miyagi?
He fell off his bike.
Right, but he really got the shit kicked out of him at the beach by Johnny.
Well, he was wearing his Ray-Bans, and his mom was like, "Take off your glasses." He's like, "No, Mom, I'm running late.
Let me see those baby browns."
Let me see those baby browns. Yeah.
What city was Daniel LaRusso originally from?
Newark.
Yep.
Damn.
I like how the common excuse is like, I don't know how things work out here. I'm from Newark.
Yeah, I know.
It's
the same country,
the same,
pal.
Dude. It's America.
One shithole town to another.
Yeah, actually, I think Newark, New Jersey would be a lot tougher than freaking Encino Hills or Reseda. Sorry, but why does Mr. Miyagi first go to Daniel's apartment?
To fix the sink.
Quote unquote. All right, good. All right, this is a tough one for you.
Learn from book.
Fix sink.
Ah, yeah.
What were the names of the 5 boys? I don't know why I say boys. Who bullied Daniel throughout the movie, like relentlessly.
The Cobra Kai guys?
So what are their names? There's 5 of them.
Okay, so I know we have Johnny, obviously. That's
Ding.
pretty easy. We've got the put him in a body bag guy.
Put him in a body bag. What's his name?
Bobby?
Yep. Ding.
And then I mentioned Dutch earlier.
Ding.
I think he's the
2 more.
blonde-haired kid.
Uh-huh.
That's a good question. I want to say one of them is like Tommy.
Yep, I'll give you Tommy. Ding. 1 more.
Tommy. Oh. Jimmy.
Yes. Very good, Sean.
Yeah, all right, there you go.
You got all
they don't
5
get
of
many
them.
speaking lines as you work your way down.
Pretty common names, too, except for Dutch.
I know. Yeah,
All right.
Dutch.
What was the name of the motel that they stayed in?
The motel?
In the beginning
Oh,
of
in the
the
very
movie.
beginning montage?
Yeah.
Damn it. That's where they go, all right, pop it.
Pop it constantly.
I don't remember. I just saw this. I should have known that one.
Canyon Portal.
Can't.
It's a stupid name for a hotel.
Yeah, I know. Okay.
When Daniel bought a school lunch for himself and Allie, how much was the total for both of them?
$365?
Close, $375.
$375. Damn it.
That's right.
It was $265, and he goes, no, for both. And then,
Yeah. What a gentleman. According to the Cobra Kai, what 3 things do not exist in their dojo? And you feel free to say it like you do in the movie.
Fear does not exist in this dojo, does it?
No, Sensei!
Defeat does not exist in this dojo, does it?
No, Sensei!
Pain does not exist in this dojo, does it?
No, Sensei!
Are those it?
Yep. Pain,
Okay,
fear,
good.
and defeat.
Yeah.
All right, good. What is Daniel's girlfriend Allie's last name?
Oh. I don't remember.
Mills.
That's right. From the hills, man.
Mills from the
Hills? What does that mean? Rich.
Right? What was the name of the tournament that Daniel LaRusso won at the end of the movie?
The All Valley.
Very good.
Yeah. I want that poster.
That is a sweet poster. What color is the car that Daniel accepts as a birthday gift from Mr. Miyagi?
It's like a cream yellow.
Yeah, cream yellow. What is their
That's a good
apartment
color.
number?
It's 9?
20.
20. All right.
What was the name
That's
of
a deep cut.
What was the name of the place where Daniel saw Johnny kissing Allie and spilled spaghetti sauce all over him like an idiot?
Oh, we're talking about the country club, right?
Yes, what's it called?
The Encino Hills Country Club.
Close. Encino Oaks.
Encino Oaks, yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry.
When Allie asks Daniel for his name, what does he say? She says Allie with an I, and he says...
Daniel with an L.
Very good. All right, couple more.
Yeah, keep them going.
Yeah. Where does Mr. Miyagi say all of his vintage cars come from?
Detroit.
Very good. Well, what's the name of the restaurant where Daniel meets his mom for lunch?
I don't know that one. I should.
Orient Express.
Yeah.
Racist much? What's
yeah,
the
right
name?
next to Cobra Kai.
Right. What's the name of the guy who plays Kreese?
John?
No, what's his name? Like the actor.
I have it up over here. That one would be cheating.
All right.
Martin Cove.
Martin Cove.
Yeah.
What was the actual date of the All Valley Karate Tournament?
It was like I want to say like December 19th.
Very good.
Is it?
You. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. When on their date, why doesn't Allie and Daniel go down the water slide?
You know, they're swimsuits, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
The Italian is ready to get down.
I know, right? He's like, let's go on the water slide. What's the name? What's the name of Daniel's mom?
Oh.
Another name you don't hear people naming their kids no more.
No, she says it when she meets him, Mr. Miyagi.
That's right. And when she meets the parents.
Oh, it's come on, Lucille. Here they come.
Lucille, very
right,
good.
Lucille, yeah. I remember that from that. If you watch the when they're at the Orient Express and he's having lunch with her, there's a lady in the background that says that, like, they're here. Come on, Lucille, let's go. They're here, or whatever it is. Like, she looks insane. Like, next time you look at it, just look behind her shoulder and see the girl calling her out. She's like staring off camera. It's just a weird
like a
scene.
mental patient.
It's pretty weird.
Ugh. At the tournament, who injures Daniel's leg and almost causes him to withdraw from the competition?
Sweep the leg. I'll get disqualified. Is that Tommy?
Bobby,
damn it. Sorry, Daniel. Yeah,
right,
I know.
Couple more. Finish this quote. To make honey, young bee needs young flower, not old
prune.
Very good. Like
yeah, a little racist there.
Hey,
yeah.
At the Halloween dance, Daniel gets hit in the head with an egg. What costume is the guy who threw it wearing?
He's a chicken.
Very good.
Yeah, this is the third egg.
What is the Finish this line. This is the Cobra Kai sensei tells Mr. Miyagi. This is a karate dojo, not a...
knitting class?
Yep, very good.
You're a pushy little bastard, ain't you? Ain't you?
But I like you.
But I like that.
You. I like that.
If you fail to show up, it's open season on him and you.
What does Allie's stupid-looking friend Susie say that Allie must be into because she likes Daniel?
What do you mean, when? Like in the arcade?
She says, I don't know what she sees in him, and the other person says...
I don't know what she sees in that guy, and then the other girl says, oh, yeah, that's where they're walking around the school.
Yep.
I don't know what she sees in that guy. Must be... Jeez, I just said that the other night. That's a good
Fungus.
Question. Must be Fungus, yeah. That's also the girl who's like, hey, this is Daniel, and she's like, Charm.
Yeah, shut up.
Shut up.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Just go away.
Yeah.
What part of this obscure one? What part of New Jersey is Daniel's Uncle Louie from?
Parsippany?
Wow, man, look at you. I'm impressed.
Yeah, there you go.
I am impressed. All right, here's...
I probably should have gotten that wrong just so I could still retain some respect.
Yeah. Here's one. Which of the following tasks does Daniel not do during his karate training? Sand the decks, paint the house, wax some cars, reboard the fence.
He doesn't reboard no fence. Come
yeah,
on.
That's right. Come on. That's all I got for you.
That's it?
Well, you want more?
Well, I was just we're on a roll.
Feeling proud of yourself here, or what?
No, it's just interesting because I've seen it so many times, and,
right.
and some of them are pretty tough.
It's coming back to you. All right, I got one more page to go.
All right.
When
We're probably boring everybody, so follow along out there.
I'm having a good time. When Daniel meets Allie in the school cafeteria, what does he offer her, saying, I made it myself?
Oh, is it apple pie?
Yeah, have some pie. I made it myself.
Have some pie, yeah. Milk?
What is the what is the name of the sweetheart that Daniel left behind in New Jersey that may or may not be imaginary?
Judy?
Yep, Judy. Another name people don't name their kids.
Yeah.
This is Judy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Better than Judy?
Yes. All right, last question. When Mr. Miyagi tells Daniel the history of karate and where it comes from, where does Daniel says that he thought it came from?
Buddhist temples?
Racist.
Yeah. Does it come from like Buddhist temples? Come from China, 16th century.
You too much TV.
Yeah. Oh, you have a belt? Yes. Canvas.
Canvas.
JCPenney.
265. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So, Sean, you did pretty good. I didn't really write down what you got, but you decimated that.
I got a B+.
Much like
maybe.
Daniel decimated Johnny's face.
Yes. Yes, he did.
Which brings us to Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai. All right. So, now's your chance. If you haven't seen Cobra Kai, we're going to talk about some spoilers because it's only really like 10 episodes on YouTube Red. Now, before I get into all that stuff, I'm going to say that I did not want to see this at all.
Really?
The marketing I felt looked really cheesy. It's like, don't mess with my childhood. One of those things.
Yeah.
But traveling and being bored, I started watching it, and it kept me hooked all the way to the end. So I was pleasantly surprised. If you're a fan and you like that nostalgia, it's worth watching.
On our maybe our last podcast we did.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'll check it out. And I watched it over the course of like 2 days, I think. Yeah,
it's a pretty quick watch. I mean, when I say no spoilers, there really isn't any spoiler that's going to ruin it. I don't think, in my opinion. Well, there barely, but
what about the reveal on the last episode?
for the most part, you're not really, there's no huge surprises. It's a very simple show. So
Daniel's a dick.
Yeah. So let's get into it. So with Cobra Kai, they decided to come back and make it for YouTube Red, and majority of all the cast is back. And it kind of flips the tables a little bit between Johnny is more the main character of this one, more so than Daniel LaRusso. And Daniel LaRusso is a rich guy who's got a lot of money. He's got his own car dealerships. He's all over the valley. And Johnny's just a maintenance guy, total drunk. And so it's kind of an interesting dynamic that they do where you start to feel empathy for him. And the main plot points that it kind of come along, we're not going to spend a lot of time on this, but the main plot points that come along is that Johnny at some point reopens Cobra Kai, teaches some kid that lives in his apartment that was getting bullied. You can already sense the same pattern as the first movie. But and then Daniel LaRusso and Johnny start having their feuds and their retaliations with each other. Johnny gets connected to his estranged son that he doesn't have a relationship with. So there's
kind of a dick too,
who's a super dick. But he's got baggage and issues. And then there's the kids have some relationship issues where Johnny kind of takes on the whole, like a lot of the school's nerds and geeks, and starts toughing them up to be Cobra Kai to fight back against bullying. All while this leads up to Johnny's kid is now taking karate lessons from Daniel LaRusso to get back at his dad because he
kind of worms his way into the auto dealership and gets a job there, which is
very manipulative, but starts kind of coming around. So then by the end of the whole series, the script is kind of flipped where the main kid that is the new kid around there, he's where did they say he was from? Ecuador or something like that? I don't know. He's now kind of like the villain at the end.
Yeah.
And Johnny's son, who was the jerk in the beginning, has now kind of become the good guy. And Daniel LaRusso, who was kind of like the prick in the beginning, has kind of refound his love and connection to karate in Mr. Miyagi.
Yeah, because his portly little son isn't going to be doing any of that stuff.
No.
Like his daughter is like his only hope, but she's got some brains, so it's like she's she's reading William Faulkner and boning up on.
She's smart.
Yeah.
But then Johnny is actually stuck in the middle because, and this is what I thought was interesting about it, is that he kind of created a monster without realizing it.
Yeah.
And you can tell like he has like some ethical dilemma that he's in.
Right.
And then in the last episode, that's where Kreese shows back up.
Right.
And he's
Johnny and Terry Silver shows up behind him.
No Terry Silver.
You didn't wait till after the credits though, Sean.
Yeah, there's no Terry. I didn't see Terry Silver.
Yeah, like another shadow comes up.
No way.
I'm back.
You're lying.
Go back and watch it.
I was like, I'll watch it. I don't see him there. Terry Silver.
I saw that ponytail.
He's not in it, man. So then Johnny's kind of like, this is the last thing I need, because he has lots of hate and resentment for Kreese, because Kreese kind of turned him into a bad person.
Yeah.
And that goes back to what Mr. Miyagi said in Karate Kid. He's like, no student is bad, it's the teacher.
Yes.
So it's they took it in a lot of different directions that I thought were kind of interesting.
Yeah. A lot of reversals of everything,
Yeah. I mean, they make fun of themselves quite a bit.
Yeah.
So you see a lot of the, where Daniel does the whole slap the hands together and he's rubbing them like he's going to fix the guy's side. Then he goes, is there a medic here? There's dumb shit like that.
Yeah. It's funny though.
It's funny it works because they are making fun of themselves. If they didn't, I don't think the show would work.
Yeah, if he started rubbing his hands together and he started, curing the kid, it's like, whoa.
It's also it's very crude, and it's not politically correct at all. So Johnny's totally
much like the first one.
Yeah, he's making fun of like the hipster generation. He's calling kids stuff. He's like, oh, you got some fucked up teeth. I wouldn't smile. He's like telling his students certain things. He's like, come on, you're big, put your weight into it, and the guy's got his little asthma thing and he takes it and smashes it. He's like, you don't need that shit,
Right.
He's a total hard ass against all these soft little hipster kids.
That character and that guy, William Zabka, is so good. Like he just did a great job of.
He did. I was really impressed.
And I like how they made him the focus of everything, because he did wonderful. Like it starts with him, and it's like you see him go through kind of a character arc. Where it's like, he comes in this like hardened kind of ass, and then he eventually his dojo becomes like this safe haven for all the kids that have been beat up. And like the bullying in this one too is really bad. Like it's like kind of cringeworthy, and it's you just kind of realize how bullies are really douchebags.
Yeah, and that's the one thing it does very well, is that it's much more of a modern take on how bullies are.
Right.
And I kind of like the stance of, okay, that's where his empathy starts coming from, because he realizes that he was one of those guys. So now he's kind of in the other, the shoes on the other foot, where he wants to help these people not get bullied. But through that process, he's trying to carve Cobra Kai to be his own thing. And, he's like, no mercy, and he's got that hard edge, but he's still kind of fair.
Yeah.
So,
and that really doesn't work, and it never did.
No, but you can kind of see that he's actually trying to do good.
Yeah.
But these old things kind of come out from his teacher. And I like some of the humor in it, to where like Daniel LaRusso's got his billboard up, and then somebody spray paints a big dick going in his mouth, and there's all these little elements that just kind of show you that it's not the same type of Karate Kid.
Right.
So those were all really funny to me.
Yeah, that's kind of what I liked about it, was the humor. And they're very short kind of bursts, so it's like a half hour, so you're not getting like, it's not really too complex, but it is, it does have a lot of the spirit of the first one, which I think why And I just saw something online, like the creators are like shocked by the reception to the show. I mean, it's huge.
Yeah, people are loving it.
Yeah.
And it's also the episodes range from 22 to 32 minutes. And they're working on season 2 now, which will be coming out next year.
Okay.
So let's talk about the end for a second, because what I think is kind of funny is obviously Kreese kind of shows up where he's mentioned a couple times. His face is totally worked up.
Yeah.
And what's funny to me is like he shows up like, now we're ready. It's like, time out. So
where you
these
been
grown men, right, are like really attracted to like training these high schoolers to like beat each other up. Like,
yeah,
it's a weird priority to have in life.
And Johnny, by the way, like there's a scene where he beats the shit out of like 4 kids, and then he just walks out of the police station the next day with no consequences.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, you just tuned up like 4 kids and like, beat the crap out of them. And he did. Like he like went off on like one kid got up and attacked him again, and he put him down again.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like he just saunters out of the police station the next day.
Yeah, and I don't remember high school kids being that aggressive towards adults, but
hey.
Yeah, they are.
Times have changed.
Times have changed. So it's a lot of fun in that respect. I like kind of the banter between, Johnny and Daniel LaRusso.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting. And he's got a lot of great lines and stuff, and he's just kind of does a good job of playing this deadbeat. So he's really funny in it.
Yeah,
the Easter eggs are throughout the whole show. So if you like the original, it really just kind of focuses on the first movie. It doesn't really pay attention to 2 and 3
because they suck.
Yeah, they're okay.
They're terrible.
For the most part, they're pretty bad. They're okay in regards to like 80s movies, but in comparison to the first one, they never really captured that magic. But yeah, John Kreese, when he shows up again, it's just like, okay, so where do you think it's going to go? What do you think is going to happen now with the story?
I mean, now it's like the dilemma's back to Johnny. It's like, do I kind of run this dojo with this asshole that kind of brought me up and showed me karate, or now is the conflict with him? But it's like, where was this guy hiding out the whole time?
Yeah, who knows?
What cave did he come out of, and like, who's his plastic surgeon? Because he looks terrible.
So you think he's gonna take over the dojo?
I don't think so. Like right away, I think him and Johnny are gonna have to have it out at some point, But I think Terry Silver, he might be the wild card here. He might show up.
Terry Silver. So
I keep going back to Terry Silver.
Yeah,
that is a beloved
let's
character.
See what good old Terry Silver's been up to.
All right. So what has he been up to?
He is Thomas Ian Griffith. That's who that is, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So he actually, which is interesting.
How's he look?
He's younger, I think, than Daniel LaRusso.
Nice. And he looks worse than him, or?
No, he actually looks pretty. I mean, let's just talk about Daniel LaRusso. Dude's 57 years old.
Yeah.
He looks great for 57.
He looks like 37.
Yeah, I hope I look that good when I'm 57. The last thing he did was a TV movie called The Kidnapping in 2007. So Terry Silver
needs the money. He needs.
I don't see anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see
John
anything.
Kreese. I don't know what that guy's been up to, but
John Kreese. Yeah.
Martin Cove.
What?
Martin Cove with a K.
Martin Cove with a K.
Like Kai, get it?
Let's see what he's been up to. Hold on. So going back while I look this up, I think that it's going to go a couple directions.
All right.
I think that Martin Cove with the K, John Kreese, is going to be the new villain, and that Johnny and Daniel are going to have to team up at some point. I think that there's redemption for Johnny as a father in this.
Yes.
I think that him and Daniel are going to kind of bury the hatchet at some point in time.
Okay.
And now that they kind of have this new third character that's in the mix, I think that half the time Johnny's going to try to get along with this guy, but then they're going to have a fallout where Johnny's like almost left for dead or something,
Yeah.
And then Johnny's kid's going to take him in, and Daniel's going to kind of take him in, and then now it's going to be them. And then I think that Johnny's main pupil, that student, is going to be like the new bad guy for the kids.
I like that.
I think that's what's going to happen.
I was laughing there because I was looking at Martin Cove's filmography. You want to hear some of these gems that he's been working on?
I'm looking at it right now. He's been busy.
The dog. I'm going to read some of these. The Dog Who Saved Summer, Falcon Song, War Wolves. Here's a real racist one. Chinaman's Chance, America's Other Slaves. The Dead Sleep Easy, Max Havoc, Ring of Fire, Miracle at Sage Street, Hard Ground.
Wild Bill Hickok, Swift Justice.
Right. Curse of the 49er, Crocodile 2, Death Swamp, Under Heavy Fire, Mercenary, Time Lock,
Falcon Song,
Shoot Fighter, Fight to the Death, Product Shadow Chaser,
Silent but Deadly,
White Light, The Karate Kid, Part 3, Steel Justice, The Karate Kid, Part 2,
Werewolves,
Rambo, First Blood Part 2. Yeah, he was in that. That's right. Blood Tide, The White Buffalo.
That little epiphany right there.
The Four Deuces.
Max Havoc, Ring of Fire.
Right, White Line Fever.
This dude's got a lot on his...
He was in White Line Fever. Death Race 2000. The Wild Party.
221 credits as an actor.
Yeah, and you remember him for one thing.
No.
Let's see what he did for television.
Oh, my God.
The Goldbergs, Criminal Minds, Tosh.0, Black Scorpion, Diagnosis, Murder, Hercules, The Legendary Journeys, Walker, Texas Ranger, Kung Fu, The Legend Continues, Renegade, Hard Time on Planet Earth, Murder, She Wrote, Cagney and Lacey, Quincy, M.E. Sorry, that's it.
Okay.
Barnaby Jones, good? The San Pedro Beach Bums, Code R, The Streets of San Francisco, Three for the Road, Kojak.
You got your fix?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right.
Tapped out.
I'm good. Okay, so wrapping it up, Cobra Kai. It's a lot of fun. I'm actually optimistic about it. If you haven't seen it, I mean, it's still worth watching. If you've listened here and you haven't seen it, you didn't really care about the spoilers. It's still fun to go back.
Yeah.
Try YouTube Red for free and just burn through them and then cancel it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. Well, I don't know YouTube Red other than hiding advertisements on YouTube. Not a lot of content right now.
Oh, well, they're building, right?
Yeah, they're building, but I think they need to find a different market. That they can't go head to head with. They can't go Netflix and Amazon Prime route. It's just going to take way too long.
Unless they keep reviving like 80s movies.
Yeah, I think there's more about the user experience and allowing you to customize.
The Breakfast Club, where are they now?
I know.
The Early Bird Dinner Club.
The Dinner Club.
Yeah, Early Bird Dinner.
So dumb.
Yeah.
Ferris Bueller Jr.
Yeah. Ferris Bueller's on retirement.
They could take it in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for us this week.
Yes.
Thanks for hanging out and stopping by. Still looking forward to any recommendations, things you guys have on anything we should be watching or we should be talking about on this show. Again, head over to our Patreon at patreon.com/theharschreview. I've got some new little rewards set up there for the community, so if you would like to be on the show or have your top 10 read or any of that kind of stuff, go to that website, patreon.com/theharschreview. Check it out, and if you're not already on any of our social platforms, go ahead and find us, jump into the conversation. And yeah, nice job, Brian, with the trivia. This was a lighthearted, a lot of fun. Didn't require a lot of effort. Got to do more of these.
Yes.
Everything's way too damn heavy and serious.
I know, man.
Yeah, we're lightening it up. All right, so that is it. Fear does not exist in this dojo, does it?
No, sensei.
Defeat does not exist in this dojo, does it?
Yes, sensei. I mean, no sensei. I mean,
all right. That's it. My name is Sean.
And I'm Martin Cove with a K.
Terry Silver signing off.
Terry Silver.
Later, guys.